Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Begich. I'm from Dillingham, Alaska, southwest in Bristol Bay. Obviously, I'm here about Pebble. Coming from Dillingham, I grew up we fished on the river, and when you subsist on salmon year-round, you tend to become fond of the salmon. And when your salmon is threaded, it hurts. And we would really appreciate your help if you can in any way to try and help us protect our watershed. The community of Dillingham is built on wild salmon. My grandfather was a sailboat fisherman, and he wrote a book, Alaska Salmon and Sail, by Walter Norton, and it's about sailing and fishing. And, when I learned about Pebble Mine in 2005, I was a young man, but I decided that it didn't merit my soul. In an effort to protect my watershed, I've been going to school for 4 years now, studying political and environmental science at UAA. Because for us to be doing anything else but working in ways to stop Pebble Mine is like arranging deck chairs in Bristol Bay. We got all of our shareholders, about 9,000 shareholders, 82% said no. The Clean Water Initiative of 2008, 82% of Dillingham said no. A study by Grayson Research, 82% no. Some undecided, and a very small amount say yes, Pebble Mine. These companies, Hunter Dickinson is a parent company in Canada. They have private shareholders. That money is going to be funneled out of Alaska. That is not helping Alaskans. That's going to Canada and to the shareholders of Hunter Dickinson and Northern Dynasty. And Anglo's money, that's money from Alaska. And we're just going to lose if you allow Pebble Mine. I mean, I've been studying it for 4 years. They ain't going to try and buy us out. We're not going to get bought out. It's not going to happen. We need somebody to take a strong stance and to help us out as much as we possibly can. And we're going to support you. And we're going to appreciate it. Because, the science is real. There's fault lines under Pebble. There is the studies that have been done on the rock, the sulfide ore, that when mixed with air and water, which we have abundance in the Pebble site, it turns into sulfuric acid. It's like the earth bleeding. And that sulfuric acid is cloud up the streams. I'm not just speaking for the salmon, I'm talking about the stoneflies, the caddisflies, the mayflies, the streamside vegetation, 20,000 caribou, the 30 million returning salmon, 10,000 bears, 10,000 brown bears. It's not just the salmon or our watershed, it's the foundation of all the life in Bristol Bay. And for you to not take a stance is irresponsible. We need somebody to be powerful and to stand up for the indigenous people of rural Alaska and set up international norms, for real. This is getting really long and drawn out, and we would like some help. What can we do? We've been doing what we can. We cannot sit and be idle while this thing happens. It's not good. Pebble is not good.
Okay, let me try to answer it again. I clearly understand what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you again, and you're not going to like the answer, because I'm not going to sit here and say yay, nay. I'm going to wait till the science is done. The science is proving many things already, but I get what you're saying. But I'm not, listen, it's my turn. It's my turn. Listen. I understand. What I am doing, and this is why, several people in public office did not support the EPA moving forward. I did. Okay? Why? Because they're a body that is not part of the state politics. For all the reasons you mentioned on the state laws that are trying to manipulate the process. Because they want to change the deck for an outcome. Because why? Because probably the science is going to tell us something that we all know. And they're trying to rearrange the deck. But I have to look at this not just from one issue. I know it's tough. I've been to Dillingham. Why did I bring Secretary Salazar, the head of the Interior Department, to the first place he was going to go? Was Dillingham. And there was a reason. Not only him, but several other cabinet secretaries. There was a reason. Because they need to understand, for all the reasons you've just laid out, the role may be limited. Because the federal government does have a limited role there. It's EPA, BLM, and a little bit of the Interior Department. They had to understand what was going to happen out there. And I'm going to tell you that I understand the issues from the viewpoint that you've laid out. But I'm also one that understands that the decisions we make sometimes in Alaska politics is sometimes only based on politics. That is dangerous. When you have something that's based on science, it should be the answer. And it is painful that you have to wait a little bit longer. But I'm going to tell you, EPA has done a good job of laying out the information. Now, every time I say that, Pebble Mine's going to call my office and scream at me. So be it. They'll ask to come and see me. And as soon as they come in, then the anti-Pebble Mine will call and say, well, they were in. Now we need. And I actually at one point said no more, because there is a process we have to respect. Because if we don't respect the process on this issue, then next time there's another issue, and public hearing or process is cut short, you will complain. That is the fact. Why did a young man, a 26-year-old, challenge the city assembly chairman? Because the process was cut. So we got to be careful, even though we're struggling and frustrated about what's happening. But I do see an end in the light of the tunnel. When I say this, because the EPA 2 months ago had a different view of when they were going to get this thing done. We leaned on them heavy, and in 24 hours that report popped loose, magically. And we're going to continue that because we don't want them to use their process to delay anything. They need to get the science completed. So we as policymakers, we hear from individuals from the community. We hear from individuals on the other side. But to be very frank with you, at the end of the day, we've got to have someone in the middle that is gathering this information. And I know there's a love-hate relationship with EPA, in this state. Dillingham today and Bristol Bay region loves EPA. But I guarantee you, there might be another day when you don't love EPA. And that's just Alaska. But I'm one of those that understands their role. And at times, split with the delegation on this. And on this one, I am comfortable with EPA moving forward and getting this completed in a very short time. And then, we'll see where I end up. But I guarantee you the science is telling us a lot already. But I have to just be frank with you. The days of, we have to be careful that we just don't leverage politics to get an answer. What you want is a sustainable answer, and science will drive the sustainable answer here. If it's just a politician saying to an agency, do this, be done, I guarantee you there'll be plenty of lawsuits. Let's do it the right way for once, so when we make the decision based on science, the outcome works. Because the politics of this country are corrupted by this action. When people just want to influence and twist and turn. Both sides. When I came into office, I made it very clear about fishing issues. I'm basing it on science, the decisions we make.